Hi, I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. And today, I'm going to show you the 2024 ES 250 all-wheel drive. But before I get into it, make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus-related content. Okay, getting right into it, the ES 250 is very similar to the ES 350, except for one major component. What that component is what's under the hood. Under the hood, we have a 4-cylinder, 200 horsepower engine versus the 350, which has a 300 horsepower front-wheel drive engine, and the 250 is an all-wheel drive. Underneath here, we have lots of gadgets and things like that. I like that Lexus, lately anyway, have put a really nice Lexus emblem under here on that top of the valve cover. In fact, it's as nice as the ones that you see on the outside of the car. So even though not a lot of people are gonna see it, it's still in there and looking beautifully. As I mentioned, this engine is around the 200 horsepower mark, but you get all-wheel drive with it. And even price point, it's pretty much, package for package, the exact same as the entry-level ES 350s with the same features. And Lexus wanted to market it as you could either choose the V6 front-wheel drive or go for the 4-cylinder and get all-wheel drive, both for the same price. So with that said, let's look at the rest of it. So the ES 250 comes with two packages, one being the standard package, which is custom sold to order only. That's like the base model. And then there's this one, which is the premium, which in my opinion is well worth the money. On the front end, we have that luxury style grille, so it's not the really aggressive F-Sport, but there is some really nice sort of angles and mathematician type design to it with, little Lexus emblems hidden all over the place. We have actual chrome sort of veering off around it, and the bottom is more like a textured chrome and the top is more like a shiny chrome, so that should hold up a little bit better as well. We have the new style daytime running light with some really nice angles sort of beside and into this little crevice here. The only thing I don't remember what that top light is for. That might be a Corning lamp or something like that. I have to check that out later. Other than that, we have the frosted daytime running light and bi-LED headlights. Now this color is the most ES color that you could say, and it is moonbeam beige metallic. Keyword is beige. And sort of if you think of any ES from the late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of them were the beige on beige, and they sold like hotcakes. In fact, anytime we ever get a color combination like this in, it sells very quickly. So that's why we have this one. Anyway, getting back to the hood, there is this really nice body line that sort of accentuates from the top of that grille into the hood. And then we have a vision line sort of wrapping around the hood. So looking at the side profile, there isn't a ton to write home about, but what is here is pretty nice. So we have a 17-inch wheel instead of the 18-inch wheel that we're seeing in some of the higher packages. And actually, because of that bigger sidewall, it does ride very, very smooth, which is the ES has always been known for. From there, we have some chrome outlining all of the window frames and black mirror caps, which nicely accents that B-pillar. Even as I'm standing beside it, you can see that the doors are very big and very solid. There's no tinniness at all in the ES. It has lots of insulation and things like that. And it's the classic door handles with the little dimple on it to be able to lock it and unlock it. The quarter panel in the back rear isn't super huge, but it sort of tapers off and has a little bit of airflow to it. So moving to the back of the ES 250, we have a taillight that I wish Lexus did on more cars. This is like the layered taillight like we see in the LC, but instead of using mirrors and holograms and stuff like that, it's just spread out in that same design language. We still have some chrome underlining the Lexus, the older Lexus emblem, and the ES 250 all-wheel drive stamped to the side there. And then underneath, you'll see there pretty much is no exhaust ports. It's all hidden up underneath, again, with that design language of current and upcoming EVs. Lexus did this in order to make it a little bit more future-proof, and rightfully so, because it's not unlike ES's to last to 400,000, 600,000, 800,000 kilometers. So there's a good chance this car is driven for the next while. Looking at the trunk, even with the ES 250 all-wheel drive, you don't sacrifice much space, even with that extra powertrain underneath. You can still fit a couple golf bags in it. In fact, I could also fit in it quite easily. I wouldn't recommend this, but it would work. So sitting in the ES 250, you'll see it has the Palomino interior. Now with the Moonbeam exterior, I think this is the only way it comes. I've definitely never seen it with the black interior, but it has a nice two-tone to it. We still have some dark chocolatey type accents. Even the wood grain on the steering wheel is accented very nicely to the wood grain that's sort of wrapped around the cabin, and that contrasts. It's a different color brown than the Palomino, but it contrasts quite well. Now when this ES came out in when it first got the big redesign in late 2018, we saw a lot of Lexus firsts in here. One of them being the armrest. So this was the first iteration of the armrest that can be opened from both passengers, and we saw this in the LS as well, the flagship. Even the volume knob has a similar sentiment where the volume itself is sort of on the upper part of the knob, and then the tuning is underneath. And the reason I really love that is instead of having to click a screen, you can really quickly change stations and have your volume right there as well. It's just a very efficient way of doing it. Also, we have a wireless charging pad that's new to the premium package, and you can just kind of place your phone there. I like that on all the wireless charging pads. They've made the perimeter a little bit bigger because cell phones keep getting bigger. So that's a very usable spot for your cell phone, especially because when you get in a car, you never know where to put your phone. And there's even this other little space up here that you can put your phone sideways as well if you're not charging it. The USB is a USB-C and the USB-A, I can't remember the name of it. And that's hidden behind this little trap door, which I think is really cool. And at least when the trapdoor comes out, it kind of goes flush. Also, the way the shifter works is really nice. How it works is you use your thumb to sort of squeeze the shifter and then put it in gear. And I find that to be one of the most ergonomic ways of doing the shifter that Lexus has. Also, I do love the new screen. It's a little bit wider and sharper than previous generations. It sits a little bit closer and it's super easy to use, especially when you rest your hand sort of on this little ledge here. Other than that, it has the latest Lexus safety sense, which is great. Even the headliner is like a tanned brown. So you have black pillars, but that nice brown that ties in sort of the seats to the headliner, which is really nice. Okay, so sitting in the back seat of the ES, we have lots of room. My legs have a ton of space in front of them. The curls of my hair is just touching the roof, but my head itself actually has a decent amount of space. I could fit 2 other people in here if I needed to. We have an armrest that's actually a pretty solid armrest with some cup holders and a pass-through. Instead of actually being able to fold down the seats, you have a little pass-through. Now, in case you didn't know why Lexus has done that and other brands have done that, the best that I could get out of it is the sealing off of that trunk from the rest of the cabin. And because of that, the most quietest cars that I've been in the back seat have the pass-through instead of the ability to actually fold down those seats. It just makes it a little more airtight in here, and because of that, the sound. I did forget to mention the floating door handles on these. Another very nice ergonomic design to them, and it's one of the only ones that when you go to open, the handle itself sort of becomes your little push rod to open the actual door instead of having to use like your elbow or your wrist or something like that. So I always thought that was pretty nice. So that begs the question, it has the 4-cylinder all-wheel drive, but how does it drive? And all I can say is this, it still has the smooth, quiet ride of the ES and what made the ES so famous. In fact, when this ES got designed, we saw sales of LS actually drop a little bit because you could get this very smooth vehicle for half the price of the LS. Now, the 4-cylinder versus the V6, that's always a big question I get asked. The 4-cylinder is slower. It's like 100 horsepower slower. And it does feel that way. I personally love the V6. I love that it's punchy. I love that it spins those front wheels. But if I needed all-wheel drive, which a lot of people where they live would prefer to have the all-wheel drive, the 4-cylinder is totally fine for this size of vehicle. In fact, I think most people in the ES market probably won't use the full 300 horsepower all the time anyway. So to sacrifice that for the 4-cylinder all-wheel drive, I think makes sense for a lot of people. However, I do think production is going to eventually stop on the ES all-wheel drive and probably eventually the ES front-wheel drive as well as we get closer to a big redesign, which we're coming up due on for sure. Over this next year, I don't know how available the ES250 all-wheel drive is going to be, but if you want a very smooth car that has all-wheel drive, this could be the one for you. So with that said, I'm Dustin Mason. Thank you for watching, and make sure you tune in for other Lexus-related videos. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of the ES250 and if there's any other cars you think I should do in the near future. Thank you.